Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sharak and the Boys Matthew Bible Study. The Bible study where we read the Bible together. There's no teaching, there's no preaching. It's just us in a conversation reading the Word of God together. Today we've got a lot to get through, so let's just jump right in. Today we're looking at Matthew 2, the whole chapter. And when I was looking at, because obviously in the previous sessions we did Matthew 1, we did the genealogy, and then we broke it up, and then we had the birth of Jesus Christ. The next part is the visit of the wise men, but I felt like all of this needed to be kept in one segment. So that's what we're going to look to do today. As always, we're just going to read through the scripture first without any breaks, just to get a picture of the story, and then we'll go back through and pull out what we can pull out. And then obviously if you've got anything to add, leave a comment, get involved. Let's go. Matthew 2 verse 1, and again everything as you can see that we study is in the ESV. No particular reason, I just prefer to use that one for Bible study, and then I prefer to read like by myself the NIV, and that's basically it. Oh, and I use the NLT to write songs. But besides the point, Look, let's just get into it. Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem, saying, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose, and have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And assembling all the chief priests and scribes of the people, he inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. They told him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for so it is written by the prophet, and you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel. Then Herod summoned the wise men secretly and ascertained from them what time the star had appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, go and search diligently for the child, and when you have found him, bring me word, that I too may come and worship him. After listening to the king, they went on their way, and behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them until it came. I can't read that sentence. And behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them until it came to rest over the place where the child was. I can't picture in my head how that looks. Like, how does a star rest above a specific point in Earth when it's... I don't know. I haven't got a clue. No. Maybe that does make sense. I mean, obviously it makes sense. It's there. I just can't comprehend it. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. Then opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way. Another dream. Now when they had departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, another dream, and said, rise, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt, and remain there until I tell you. For Herod is about to search for the child to destroy him. And he rose and took the child and his mother by night, and departed to Egypt, and remained there until the death of Herod. This was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet, out of Egypt I called my son. Then Herod, when he saw that he had been tricked by the wise men, became furious. And he sent and killed all the male children in Bethlehem and in all that region who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had ascertained from the wise men. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by the prophet Jeremiah. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping and loud lamentation, Rachel weeping for her children. She refused to be comforted because they are no more. Proper sad. But when Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the child's life are dead. And he rose and took the child and his mother, and went to the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus, that's what we're going with, was reigning over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and lived in a city called Nazareth, so that what was spoken by the prophets might be fulfilled, that he would be called a Nazarene. Now, there's a lot to unpack in this, and we're not going to spend like a massive amount of time in it. I don't want these videos to be too long. So, there's just a couple of things whilst I was reading it that I feel like I can draw out. Because it's not going to be a verse by verse kind of study. There's plenty of resources online for you to be able to do that, who can teach a lot better than I can. And I would highly recommend that you check those people out. But yeah, let's just go in. Where is he who's been born king of the Jews? Where he saw his star when he rose and have come to worship him. This is one of the things I found interesting. Verse 3: When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Everyone is troubled. What's interesting is that nobody. Okay, so first of all, Jesus is already born at this point. So in the stories of like when the wise men, in like the nativity plays, when the wise men come and give the gifts to Jesus in the manger, that probably didn't happen. They didn't arrive at his birth. He was all after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king. Wise men came from the east, and they don't have planes and trains and cars and stuff. They have to travel by horse or donkey, right? And we don't know, or I don't know specifically, people probably do know where they came from. Greek magi. Stop. Let's have a look quickly where they came from. Where did the wise men come from? Because it says they came from the east. Who got a map? No. After Jesus was born, wise men came to look for him, probably from an area which is now in either Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, the Yemen, or an area in what's now southern Turkey or southern Syria. That's quite far. Yeah, so it would have taken them quite a while to get to Jesus. So he's not just like, he's probably like a toddler at this point, right? Maybe. But nobody in Jerusalem, none of the Jews knew. Nobody knew that Jesus, their Messiah, had been born. The wise men knew. We saw his star. Numbers 24 verse 17. What does that say? Numbers 24 from the footnote, verse 17. Oh wow. I see him, but not now. Balaam's final oracle. I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star shall come out of Jacob, and a scepter shall rise out of Israel. So they took it literally. Oh man, it's like a butterfly effect, right? It's just crazy. So had the wise men not come, Herod wouldn't have known about Jesus and wouldn't have issued the murder of all of the children 2 years and under. But that would have meant that none of the prophecies about Jesus were fulfilled. That's crazy. We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. They knew who they were looking for. And then going on, he assembled all the chief priests and scribes of the people. He inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. So so at this point, they believed that there was a person called Jesus, not Jesus, but they believed that there was a person to be born. Excuse me while I just rub my eyes a sec. They believed there was a person to be born that had been prophesied about. And the only way that Herod was able to confirm who or where he was going to be was to consult the people who knew the word. And he believed them. So it wasn't a case of Herod didn't believe that there was going to be a prophet or whatever. He very much believed that there was going to be a prophet, and he wanted, or a Messiah, a chosen one, and he wanted to kill him. That's nuts. Are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. So he summoned the wise men secretly and ascertained from them what time the star had appeared. So now he's decided. So basically, he asks the wise men, what time did it appear? I want to know how old this baby Jesus is, or this baby child is. And then he lies and says, I want to come and worship him as well. And that's how we can know that Jesus was about a toddler, because it says, killed all the male children in Bethlehem and in all that region who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had ascertained from the wise men. So they had told him it appeared about this time, which would make him about this age. So he was like, okay, sick. Kill everyone that age and under, just to be sure. Crazy. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. So this is pretty sick, actually. So they've seen the star already. They followed the star to this point of Jesus, and they've come across the earth to where. So say like, if I do it like this. Say the stars. Say, trying to figure out how the best. Say they're here, and the star's here. The star doesn't move in the sky, right? The star just stays there. So if they like moving across like this, there'll come a point where they rest underneath the star. Like, I can't trying to figure out on the camera. They rest underneath the star. So the star in the sky is above Jesus's house. So they've like come to rest under this thing. They've seen the star. They're like, oh my days, the Messiah's here. Then they find it. They're like, we've actually found the house. Because it's probably a bit of a nightmare trying to find a place by using a single star. And they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. What was that? Exceedingly, extremely, to a great extent. So they rejoiced to a great extent with great joy that they had found the house where Jesus, this little kid, has been living. They saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him. How mad. He probably didn't even know why they were there. He's a baby. Little baby Jesus. Then opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold and frankincense and myrrh. Gold, sick. Yes, please. But they were all... How interesting. So there's footnotes for each of the gifts, right? So Isaiah 60 verse 6. 60 verse 6. What does that say? A multitude of camels shall cover you, the young camels of Midian and Ephah. All those from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and frankincense, and shall bring good news, the praises of the Lord. So they did it in accordance with the prophecy. So this is another prophecy that's been fulfilled. Good grief. And frankincense. So this is in Revelation. So this is well after Jesus, obviously. 18:13. Not well after Jesus, but he's after Jesus. Cinnamon, spice, incense, myrrh, frankincense. That is human souls. I'm not too sure what the reference is there. And myrrh. Psalm 45, verse 8. Your robes are all fragrant with myrrh and aloes and cassia from ivory palaces. Okay. Maybe that's just to understand what myrrh is. Either way, that's a prophecy fulfilled. Bringing the gold and the frankincense and the myrrh is crazy. So far, let's look at to fulfill what the Lord has spoken by the prophet. Right? So this is the first prophecy. She's going to be born of a virgin. So in chapter 1, one prophecy, bam, fulfilled, okay? Number 2, chapter 2. He's born in Bethlehem. Second prophecy. That was another prophecy, his star. 3. They brought gifts. 4. This is crazy to me. And another dream. There's dreams. Here, we said it in the last video, but there's so many prophecies that were outside of Jesus' control that there's no way he could have faked being the Messiah. All of the prophecies, oh man, and it's just what vexes me so much is people who aren't Christians and they can't see the Bible for what it actually is. The Bible is not a book. It's not like a thing that's just read. It is a collection of letters and old what are they called, like scrolls and things like that. It's like documents that have been tried and tested throughout time. Nobody wrote the Bible. There's 40 odd, maybe, I think 40 different people who wrote the Bible or wrote the letters and books in the Bible. But for some reason, people are just like, oh, but yeah, you can only prove Jesus fulfilling the prophecies with the Bible. You can only defend the Bible by using the Bible. And it's like, the Bible is so much bigger than that. The Bible is not just like the Bible. That's what we've turned it into. It's obviously the inspired word of God, and he's made it in this way of 66 books. But it's more than just the Bible. It is 66 individual books and letters, all written with an intentional purpose. Man, it baffles me that we still people can't think higher than that. I think it's just a dead argument that people make. You just defend the Bible with the Bible. Oh my days. Come on. It's not to me it's not a good argument. It's a boring one. Because as a Christian, I know it's not. It's made. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. Just stumbling over my words. All of that to say, there were these documents written thousands of years before Jesus that prophesied about him coming, and then he arrives and fulfills all of these prophecies. And it doesn't just prophesy that a Messiah will come. It prophesies how the Messiah will come, how the chosen one, how the Christ will show up. And that is how he shows up. Oh my days. It's just insane. It's so cool. So cool. Christianity is it is a cool religion. It just is. Like, people get so thing about Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones is pretty good. I don't endorse it though. I've never seen it. That's a joke. People get so wrapped up about Game of Thrones in this fantasy realm and all this kind of stuff. Bruh, read the Bible. It's I've said it to people before. I was like, even if you don't believe in God, read the Bible anyway. It's like a freaking good book. It's a good read. Anyway, back to Matthew. Now, when they departed, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Rise, rise, take the child and his mother and flee to Egypt." Another prophecy. And he rose. That was to fulfill what the Lord had spoken by the prophet. "Out of Egypt I called my son." What's interesting... Okay, let's try and tie these things up then, because what's interesting is having Joseph has already been exposed to a dream where he believes God. An angel of the Lord appeared to him, telling him, "Take Mary as your wife. The child is from the Lord." And he does it. He believes him. And he just does it. They go to Bethlehem. They're in Bethlehem. And he has another dream saying, "Take your child and his mother and go to Egypt because the King Herod is trying to kill the child." Now, God could have appeared to Joseph in a dream, and all he would have needed to say is, because of Joseph's past experience already, all he would have needed to say is, "Take the child and his mother and go to Egypt." And that's it. And Joseph, being, it said, the righteous man that he was, Joseph would have probably gone and just believed God that this was what he wanted him to do and taken him. But, and specifically the reason he did that was to fulfill the prophets. "Out of Egypt I called my son." But he uses Herod and this mass genocide to push them out of Egypt. And that was to fulfill another prophecy. Mad. So why did God allow that to happen? I guess I'd need to read this prophecy in the context of the book of Jeremiah to fully understand what was going on there. He'd been tricked by the wise men. He should have known better. They were wise men. He became furious and he sent and killed all the male children. Man, I wonder how, if they got word that he started doing that, because they would have gone back to the east. "You can meet me on the east side." So they would have went back to the east, and he would have just started killing all the baby boys after they just never came back to him. I wonder if word got to them that had happened, and if they blame themselves for that, because that's rough. It literally is because of them that happened. It's not funny. It's terrible. What a terrible thing that happened there. That's awful. Real sad. When Herod died, behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, "Rise, take the child and his mother, and go to the land of Israel, for those who sought the child's life are dead." He rose and took the child and his mother and went to the land of Israel. So he went. He did what God said and went. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the district of Galilee. And he went and lived in a city called Nazareth, so that was spoken, Jesus the Nazarene. Man, the birth of Jesus is just a wild ride, right? It's just very cool. It's very cool. I love it. There's definitely more to unpack, but I think we're going to leave it there for today. I think that's Matthew 2 covered. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the time, for sure. That was a good one. Lots of stuff. Lots of things to think about. And I think if you want to like properly grasp everything, it's a good idea to pull up some maps and have a look at like where the wise men came from, sort of where Bethlehem was, and where God told him to go to Egypt, and then told him to go to Israel. From Bethlehem to Egypt, to Israel, to Galilee, Nazareth. Like, I think it's a good idea to get a picture of the journey that God took Joseph on. And what's interesting is there was 3 prophecies about him being born in Bethlehem, him coming out of Egypt, and being a Nazarene. Those 3 things, like you'd look at those prophecies and be like, well, how can one kid be born or brought, like, come from 3 different places? And then obviously, and you're like, that's impossible. How can that possibly be? With God, all things are possible, and he made it possible that Jesus was from 3 different places to fulfill the impossible prophecies, to prove that Jesus was the Messiah. It's just fascinating. Anyway, it's a longer video than usual. Obviously, we had more verses to look at, but yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you check out the song of the day, Mountains by Sean C. Johnson. It's a great song. That's going to be it. Subscribe to know when the next video goes live. Leave a comment. I'll try and put some questions in the description. But yeah, thank you so much, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.